used to think silence meant peace, a kind of comfort that wrapped around you when the world got too loud. Lately, though, it started to feel like punishment. Every evening in our apartment followed the same dull rhythm, the fridge humming quietly, the faint tap of her fingers on her phone, then that soft laugh always meant for someone else. Her name is Rachel. For 3 years she was my world. We had our flaws, sure, but I believed we were solid, the kind of couple with morning texts, inside jokes, quiet Sunday breakfasts. I thought we were still in love. I was wrong. Somewhere along the way she began to drift. First in her eyes, then her touch, and finally in her heart. It started subtly. Longer showers before going out. Lip gloss she never wore for me. Her phone glued to her hand, as though it held a secret she couldn't risk losing. I told myself I was overthinking, that love sometimes goes through quiet phases. Deep down I knew something was slipping away. Then came that night, the party at James's place. I suggested we go, hoping laughter and friends might remind us of who we used to be. But the moment we walked in, she disappeared into the crowd, as if I were invisible. Her laughter came from near the bar, louder, freer, like she had been waiting to be anywhere but next to me. And that's when I saw him, Ethan. The kind of man who thrives on attention. He leaned in close, whispered something in her ear, and she laughed, tilted her head, touched his shoulder like it was second nature. My chest tightened, but I stayed silent. When she returned, she looked at me like I was a stranger, half amused, half bored. Having fun? I asked quietly. Her lips curved in a knowing smile. Don't tell me you're jealous, she teased. I met her gaze steadily. No, I said softly. I'm done. Her smirk faltered, confusion flashing for a second, like she hadn't expected to lose something she already took for granted. But I had lost her long before that night. The ride home blurred past under streetlights in silence. She stared out the window, and I realized how often I had mistaken her distance for depth. The next morning she acted like nothing had happened. Coffee? She asked, voice light, cautious. I nodded. She moved around the kitchen with that forced normalcy, trying to convince herself we were fine. I cut in. You don't have to explain. It's okay. Her eyes lifted. You're not mad? I shook my head. You can't be angry at someone for finally showing who they are. For a moment she almost looked human again. Maybe even remorseful. Then she shrugged, took a sip of coffee, and whatever remained between us quietly died right there. That afternoon I began packing. No yelling, no tears, just calm, steady movements. Folding shirts, unplugging chargers, turning our shared memories into boxes. I paused at a photo from a trip years ago, her kissing my cheek under the rain. I turned it face down. When she came home and saw the boxes, her expression twisted. You're actually leaving? Yeah, I said. You made your choice. I'm just living with it. She crossed her arms. You're overreacting. I almost laughed. No, Rachel. I've just stopped making excuses for you. She said nothing more. I think she assumed I'd return eventually. I didn't. I moved into a small one-bedroom across town. The first nights were strange. Silence still felt heavy, but this time it wasn't cruel. It was healing. Slowly, I began rediscovering pieces of myself I'd buried. Cooking for one, reading late into the night, sleeping without waiting for a text that never came. Rachel had once hated when I read too long, said I disappeared into stories. Maybe she was right. Now that disappearance felt like freedom. Weeks later she texted. Do you ever think about us? I stared at it before replying sometimes, but only to remind myself why I left. She didn't respond. A week later, I saw her at a cafe near my office. Polished, confident, but her eyes betrayed her. Something was missing behind the gloss. Regret, maybe? She said, trying for casual. Hey, stranger. Hey, I replied. How have you been? Better, I said honestly. She studied me, her smile flickering. You really moved on, huh? I gave a small nod. You taught me how. For a moment we said nothing. Then she forced a laugh. You don't miss me at all. I did, I said. But not anymore. She looked down, soft voice. You were always too calm for your own good. I smiled faintly. And you were always too careless with something good. Walking out of that cafe, I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. Not because I had won, but because I finally understood that leaving doesn't always mean defeat. Sometimes it's the only way to find peace. That night, sitting by my window, rain sliding down the glass. I thought about how love can fade into silence, and how silence can teach you things words never could. Rachel once said that people who stop caring always look calm. Maybe she was right, but she didn't understand. Calm doesn't mean empty. It means full of lessons, of peace, of everything you finally learned to let go of. I wasn't angry that night at the party. I wasn't jealous. I was just done. And sometimes being done is the loudest thing you'll ever feel.